the anniversaries, I wish that we could continue with what we certainly over the last 10 days or so, we're hoping we're going to be very good news out of Israel related to the hostages, related to a ceasefire, and all of that news. It hasn't come to pass yet. We're still hopeful, but we're also realistic. And yes, there have been some of the hostages released, but the news continues to be a lot of dreadful waiting, or waiting filled with dread. So our thoughts are with them and our prayers are with them. And for the time being, we still have our empty chair on the bima in honor of Sagi Dekochen. I wrote recently of the importance of the fascination with Hebrew letters, numbers that we know as gematria. So gematria is adding numerical value to all of the Hebrew letters and putting them together for a mystical a belief, if you will. And the most important one always is that you recognize that whatever number you come up with, you add one, because one stands for, remember, Passover, okay? There's one, Echad Eloheinu, Shabbat Shemayim U'Baaretz, there's one God in heaven and earth. So today, in both the Hebrew calendar and the American calendar, is the 27th of the month. It's the 27th of January, it's the 27th of Tevet. Okay, so 27, and add the one for God. So the prayer that I would offer on our behalf for this annual meeting emphasizes the Hebrew word koach, which is 28, which means strength. We ask God for the strength to serve God's purposes in the community in which we live, to respond to God's call to us, to resist the forces around us of hatred, xenophobia, and racism, to proudly acknowledge being Jewish, being Zionists, being Americans dedicated to the best ideals of the amazing, exciting experiment, which is the United States. We pray to God for strength to support each other when we are in pain, when we are in sorrow, when we experience loneliness. We pray to God for the strength, for the koach, to add to the success and growth of Beth Shalom Temple Center, and for the strength to enhance the Green Valley community. And when we have that strength, then we respond to the words of the prophet Isaiah, Atem Edainu U'Adonai, you are my witnesses in all that you do. So we pray, Baruch Ata Adonai, Shomea Tfilah. We pray to you, O God, may you answer our prayers.
Thank you. Thank you, Rabbi.
Thank you.
All right, so I'm just gonna put up, sound on again, okay.
Hold it till it turns green.
I'm going to put up the agenda. One or two things were left out. So on the PowerPoint of the agenda. I do that from here.
Excuse me, Lori just says you can hear now.
Oh, wonderful. Okay,
What life?
No, what's going on?
I was gonna put the PowerPoint on.
Okay.
Okay,
No.
we gotta put it on slideshow. Okay, take your time. You know, it's been so long since I've done a PowerPoint presentation. I used to do this all the time when I was teaching. And I guess I was missing it. But it didn't help me organize fully what I wanted to say. But as a nurse, when you taught nursing, you always wanted to orient somebody. So we orient as to not the time, but the day at least. So I put it, but it is not this way. Is today the 22nd? No, I'm still having trouble with my calendar. And the year is wrong. Okay. I'm living in the past, what can I tell you? But I'm looking forward to the future. Okay, next. Next. Oh, I can click it? No.
Are you in slideshow?
Yeah. Okay, go back one. Go back. You're going ahead too far. Okay, agenda. Okay, all right. As all of you know, my favorite saying is, I shall pass this way but once. Therefore, the little I can do, let me do it now, or I shall not pass this way again. And I really mean that. And so I want to thank everybody for their faith and their confidence in me. And there's a whole bunch of other things I want to thank. So we can go on to the next slide. Okay, here's the agenda, but you can't see it, so that's okay. I just wanted to point out that the picture that's on the website does not show our new security gates. That was really from last year's year-end report, but we do have the security gates, and I want to also say that we were all very welcoming. We even have a little bird there, but I didn't make it big enough. So go to the next slide. Okay, we had a lot of highs and lows this year, and I'm going to first go on the highs, and then I'm going to thank the all the committees and the people. And if I miss anybody, please shout out. I'm sorry. I think I was then working with 3 PowerPoint presentations by the time I was finishing, and so I might have left that one. So one of the highs was really the Torah dedication. It was such a wonderful honor for me to help bring in the Torah. But everybody worked on this. The Long Range Planning Committee, John Ungo, Mike Gallitz, Toby Patel, the Finkelsteins, of course the rabbi. We couldn't have done it without the rabbi. He was really the real spearheader. And who else was on the Long Range Planning Committee? Ricky.
Rabbi.
No, I said the rabbi.
Said Rabbi.
Ricky, okay.
Toby.
Codes. Toby. No, I said Toby and the codes. Okay, so yes, I'm sorry. I was afraid I was making the pictures too big, but you can just see my favorite picture is really the one of the scroll going around. And we were so impressed with Rabbi Roman Norm that he could figure it out. When he said going through so many of these slides, that was one of the ways he didn't know. Okay, next. Next. Oh, okay. Next. Okay. I want to mention we did also have, as part of the Torah, we did have a second scribe visit, and there are some people there doing it. Again, you can't see. I apologize. Some of this I can put on if you want to. Some of the cartoons that are on it, I can't because they're and I'll take them out because they're copyrighted. Yeah, they're stock photo, but I'm just trying to be a little cute about some of them. Okay, so I can put this on so you can see, but I try to get people from the community, past members, and of course our members. So we can go on to the next one. Okay, and so I wanted to thank Dan Gallitz for picking up and taking care of the Torah. And if we go to the next slide, you can see the Torah's journey and also Dan's journey. So the first one is where it's stitched together. That was in Florida, right? Yeah. When it comes, the sheets all come from Israel. It's stitched together. There is Dan, and I try to put a little point there so you can see in the seat next to him is another passage of the Torah. And there is Dan coming. I guess that was into your apartment, right? Yeah. Okay. Next. Okay. The second big high for me, and I think everybody, was a very successful 30th anniversary gala where we honored both a very own Joyce Finkelstein and also Shira, Pat Shira, okay. And so there I tried to include some of the pictures of the people who were instrumental in this, and some other people, about this to see. And you can see the table, we had the improv, company there, so again, it'll be on. People didn't get to do the horror, I think I did have a good table set up. And on the next slide, I have some of the thank yous, and if I have left out somebody, please shout it out or tell me. So next slide. Next slide. Okay, you can see. Okay, certainly Pat Maslow and Mike Finkelstein were the co-chairs, and they did a wonderful job. A shout out to Lori Sherman, who did the website, who took flyers. She did videos, posted them. I have a picture of her, another one where she's in a radio station talking about it. Connie Greenwald was keeper of the auction items extraordinaire. She really gathered all the items in her home and helped to give numbers to everything and to tag it and to, make the auction sheets. Who else? Okay, Kevin List was helpful in coordination with the casino, and really at the end, she really came in. Shelley Rothstein went out in the hot heat, going around to places to get, the hot payment to get gifts and things for the raffle and the auction table. Donna Wheeler, I remember seeing her that last day, and I'm sure other times too, really working, helping reset the table because Pat decided to do Michael color combination. So, and that's, going above and beyond the call of duty, but I thank her for that. And so, it was a perfect event. We did raise some money. Anybody want to add anything about the gala?
Yeah,
I said Donna Wheeler.
and Sue Cohn was the one who Marty and Sue underwrote.
Underwrote the
Improv group,
somebody gave the wine.
yeah,
Yeah.
probably.
I think I forgot to put, that was where it was on another slide, one of my other places, maybe on the, or something. Marilyn Bean and Laura Unger with okay, next. Okay, so I wanted to say to the board, all the committees, the members of the committees, the rabbi and the congregation, not to mention Stacy, later, so that we could not have could have done it without all of you. So thank you from the bottom of my heart. Next. Okay, so here's the board, a little few things about the board. I was really trying to find something that said, accomplishment of the board, BORED, but I couldn't find it. But that was a pretty integrated board, and we are a pretty integrated board. Okay, next. Okay, first to Gary Friedman. Gary Friedman was vice president and did a wonderful job. He stepped in for me. He was also head of security, and he had really he's been on other boards and stuff, and he had a really good memory for things that had been passed, not passed, Robert's rules, everything else, and the procedures. So Gary, as you know, has gone on to Texas. They went farewell. But he's still a member with us because we have made him an honorary member. So, and he's still working for us. He's just working on some grant. He did some other grants for security. Next. Okay, Treasurer Ricky Patel, and also give out a shout out to Harry Siegel, who helped her. I'll say more later. But Ricky is really a treasure. She's done a lot with trying to get categories of what did she call them? Working with QuickBooks to make departments and remaking them and have things under them so that we can have some understanding of it. She helped to identify that we hadn't done something for the last 2 years. 3 years. Okay. This is my notes, but I'm not using my notes. I'm just going forward with this. And so, and not only is she treasurer of a treasurer, she's also next hospitality chair. And she's certainly our very own Pearl Mesta and a hostess with the mostest. But again, nobody can do it alone, and she was ably assisted by Marion Katz, Bill Katz, Aggie Cleta, Bill Fix, Chris Hager, Troy Milton, Hermione Bruder, Judy Amanda Garman. Who else am I missing?
Oh, lots of people that stepped in when needed.
Okay, but I thank them. Okay. Oh, she also did the Seder. And so I wanted to put some pictures of the Seder. A shout out to the rabbi. But I'll say that again later because we had he and Marla Spitterman collated a Haggadah that hasn't gone to press yet. It was tried out last year, and I don't know what the status is, whether we're going to print it or still work on it for next year. And so, as I said, I'll put these, I try to include as many people as possible. Next. Okay. Ricky also established the gratitude fund. Okay, so you can see, and I want to say, I just want to warn everybody that I am nominating, once she really steps down from hospitality, but we keep holding her and, nominate her volunteer of the year. She has, she's a good sounding board for me. She's taught me how to read a spreadsheet, not that I still can't, can, but I have a little better understanding, and she's been so helpful. So, so the board will hear from me later on that. Next. Okay, Harry Siegel. Harry Siegel came onto the board. Ricky quickly scooped him up because he has an accounting and CPA background, right? And he went through, I don't know how many boxes to look for some of the files because we hadn't reported things in about 3 years. And these boxes were, you can imagine, dusty, dirty. I think he's still sneezing from some of them, but I want to thank him and for all his advice since he came on board. Next. Okay, Gary Melton. I like this cartoon. The cartoon says something about the minutes.
It's funny, they ask us to approve the minutes when honestly they feel more like hours.
We just had to bring that in. I was trying to, bring a little humor in. That's PowerPoint presentations bring humor. So that's my humor that I brought in. And you can tell him, so you're not funny. But any which way. And he also did tributes to caring in a very caring way. And Gary was always there to step in. He got the step from Sarita, the proclamation from the Sarita city, and he stepped in multiple times. He stepped in for me to go to the grant committee at JASA that I couldn't go to, and so it's been wonderful. And I will miss him on the board. And you must be feeling very good because these are your last minutes. Since we haven't a secretary yet, so these will be your last minutes. Next, okay, Mike Finkelstein membership. Okay, now I couldn't find anything that said support your synagogue, so you know me in owls, so I crossed that out and support your synagogue. And so Mike does a wonderful job in membership. He's always on the phone. He gets people to help him, but he's so good about calling people, recalling people, even calling them again. Sometimes they get a little upset, but he goes right on. And that's wonderful because he does it in a nice way. And without Mike, I don't think our membership would be as sturdy. We have several new members this year. Well, I wanted to say our membership statistics are 140. We were 170 last year, but we lost about 24 members. Half of that in deaths, unfortunately, and half of it then moving away. And so we're still working on it. There's some members who still need to be called. They want to talk to me. Some members are I'm still working on it. Their finances or such. But we have several good members. Dawn is here, and who else was that? Robin Jonas, Elliot Sachs. I can't read all the things. I can't remember the ones. What? Okay, yeah. And we did have a nice, which we've done before at my house. I wish I had a bigger house so I could have the entire board. a meet and greet with the new members, and it was very nice. Okay, next. Okay, we can't forget that Mike also takes care of programming. Mike did take up one hat this year, and that's public relations, but he did up till half a year, he did public relations, but he's also done programming. And that's not an easy job. He got the Klezmers here, he got, the plays that we've had. Again, the Shliach came, another person from Israel came, which, told about what it was like being there in October in Israel. And okay, the film shorts and other films, the Purim and the final programs. Okay, so next. And then Lori. Shout out to Lori. Lori, as you know, had surgery and can't be here today. She was here with us by Zoom. And you can read that, Lori's philosophy about wanting to communicate with people and to bring them into the synagogue, to have an expanded synagogue. But she's on the communication committee. The nominations were organized by Lori. She did the gala publicity, and lots of other things. She was always being called on to write something or send off something or design something. And she's also a playwright and a director, and sometimes even more. She's kidding me that, but we've been kidding her. But she could say one day she was the boss. So we have to listen to her. Okay, John, her husband, was also very helpful as doing the music for our dramas. And those are, I remember we have the Hanukkah spiel, we were the Maccabees, and then at Purim we did the, next, we did the Mary Mary B. And so that was a lot of fun too. Unfortunately, I'm not going to be here this year. So I'm going to be with my sister, so I'm going to have to bow out. Okay, next, okay. Also want to thank John Unger. John Unger is Long Beach Planning. I don't know where he is today. I was hoping to have him Zoom, but he's still having trouble walking. He's just recently coming back to doing all his functions. It was always a great person to sit at the long table, to check in people for daily breakfast. He did great minutes. I loved how they were, the 3 columns and things like that. And his executive task was really very helpful in his organization and thing. And I will certainly miss him on the board, but I certainly hope that he's going to keep long-range planning. So please, somebody write that down in a minute. Okay, next. Okay, Josh Nitzel. Josh is also new to the board, and he quickly, when Gary left, took on the duties of being in charge of the Shomer, and with Dan Gallan's help and getting our Shomers. This year he used Arizona Rangers, the high holidays instead of the Sheriff's Department, and he said he got a lot of good comments in that. He's working with the JAPSA Coast Attorney Directors. He said there's no major security issues this year, thank goodness. And he has a thriving Shomer program at all events and services, which we forgot to mention that our Shomer for this event is Dan Gallant. Thank you, Dan. Okay, next. Okay, I also want to give a shout out to the greeters, all the greeters who are going forward are going to be picked by me because it's been hard getting you to sign up. But so I'll just pick them and then you can find somebody to replace you if you can't make it. So I wanted to also say for the greeters. So, okay, next. And a super thank you to Dan Gallant, who's been so helpful to me. I mean, everybody has, but Dan was really a mentor and a friend and a sounding board. There were some issues that I came up right soon when I was new, and we went to him, and he was so helpful. I'm sure I provided him more than he wanted, but he was really very pleasant about it. And really, thank you. Next, okay, not to mention Rabbi Norm and Lynn, and I hope you take note of this, it's sort of something that's going up. Because Norm has really, I think, brought us all along up to have a better functioning, a better, active, synagogue that has meaning, that is integrated very well, all sorts of viewpoints. You know, when I first came, you know, I had this Orthodox viewpoint, I've since lost it, still keep coming up, but, and he's open to questions, because he some of his talks, you know, you naturally want to ask him questions about something, so he brings up such interesting things. And Lynn too she's not the Reddington, but I like being called that, but she's really, you know, assisting him. We can call her, they call her from sister, from other things and everything like that, and she's a great grandmother, puppy or grandmother. Okay. Okay, next. Okay, so now I want to quickly go through the chair of the committees. I know this is boring, but I did want to thank them. I'm trying to speed it up a little. I'm trying to talk as fast as I can in my New York accent and speed of talk. So let's go on to the committees and the chairs. Okay, so there's, I forgot what that says. You can read it. I don't doesn't say stop, but yeah, read it.
I forgot. Is this a committee meeting, a subcommittee meeting, a steering committee, an executive meeting, a planning committee meeting, or an alignment committee meeting?
Sometimes I feel like that. I'm sure so many of you do too, with the many committees you are on. Okay, next. Oh, now I like that too. I love this word. I propose we form a committee to review our committees. Okay, so, I skipped a slide, I must have been missing, but the first part was a report, and it will be on when we go out by, Les on all the things, a summary of the things he did this year about getting new computers, new microphones, wiring, I don't know how that missed, it's probably in there, it's probably hidden somewhere. And in 2024, he logged 1,117 views for services, and other events, so people can participate virtually. And that's really great. It's a great boon in, even now too, sometimes it's cold, you're not feeling well. Of course, it's always better coming here and seeing people in person, but it's nice to know that you can do it and it is online. And I know the sisterhood rightly so honors him with all that he did. Okay, next. Oh, no. Oh, that's okay. All right. This should have been, I don't know where it should say social action. Connie Greenwald, she's not here with us anymore, but she helps spearhead along next day along with her committee. And Gary Milton was very good, especially also with the Mitzvah Walk. And so I think I have another slide where I put, I had 27 pounds of food for one food bank, 23 for another food bank. They got dog and cat food, they got toiletries. Maybe it's on the next slide, but you're hearing me and you'll see it. All that they did with doing things. Also, Youth on Their Own, which supports high school students to prevent them from dropping and coming back. Next. Oh, okay, self-directed. Okay. If I would have gone over this a couple times, but I didn't have time. It would have been better. This is the whole mishpacha doing the walk for hunger. There's a picture there also, but some of those were not this year walking with us as BSTC congregants, but they were there and joined us through. But they were still supporting the hunger walk because there is a lot of hunger out there. Okay, next. Okay, so this is some of their social action projects for the sisterhood okay. Social action, the Youth on Their Own, Sister Jose's shelter, and Angel Hearts pajama program, which you commonly see. One thing that Connie always advocates is at each program we bring something for the food bank, and I think that's a good idea. Next. Yay. Let's go back, go back.
Less than the.
Yeah, Les did that. Can you go back?
Yes, back.
Back.
One more.
One more, okay. The Martha Wiener Art Gallery, which was named last year in Martha's honor, but Bev Blake has been a great addition, co-director, whatever you want to call it. She changes it, you know, what she says she is, but she's really doing it too. And so we had some great programs. I think there were about 4, can you still hear me if I sit down?
Yeah.
Okay.
Controversy.
That's worse.
Don't worry.
That's okay, I get it. All right, you know, we're having a meeting after this to see who's gonna be president. You might not have me anymore. So, okay, but, we had 3 of the 4, shows, correct me if I'm wrong, were from, Temple members. And it really shows you, and I was just going recently through some of the talents of our members, and it's really wonderful. Somebody who is into gardening, other things, but this is art show that had Marty Coe with his antique photographs, not antique, whoops. Okay, and Carol Heller with her sculptures, and what's the name?
Josh.
No, Roger was last. That was, I think that was Gary Friedman. Yeah, and his photographs. Okay, next. Okay, aesthetics, Toby Patel, and Toby is really someone who keeps a watch on. Everybody okay? Nobody's speaking?
No.
To make the temple and its grounds a welcoming place, you know, Toby has stepped in, looked at the, what fixtures we were actually using for lights. She's very hands-on in that way. She had me count all the chairs, and I think I said there was 107 chairs, and we were looking at whether we needed to change them or not, but we decided we didn't at this time. Okay, Toby, go on. Next, okay, the ritual committee, Sunette and Steve Barron, they came in and oversaw the ritual committee, and they came on to a committee that really had a very little written down, and that was hard. And they certainly tried making their way to understand what to do and how to do it, and worked on getting a procedure manual. They certainly oversaw the Friday night and Shabbos services. They worked on documenting the procedures, and with the rabbi, they helped to setting up services for the high holidays, as well as going forward who and what are the services for next year. So for whoever comes in, because they are not, they're not doing it next year. I think my next slide speaks to that. We'll have what are the dates of everything already, and that's a big thing. Next, yeah, there's the empty seat, okay? That's the empty seat. So we have an empty seat for, this is commercial, for ritual, and also for hospitality. Okay, next. Okay, I wanted to bring up the Stand with Israel Committee. Very apropos right now, and this is a committee by Ken. Is Ken still here? Oh, sorry, Ken, I saw you back. He's done a wonderful job with the other members of the team. You can see they are Andrew Katz, Harry Siegel, Lynn Severe, Laura Sherman. I have written for the for Ed's for other people to get letters to really keep the idea of Israel and Israel and the hostages at the forefront. And it was supposed to be an ad hoc committee, but we will be voting. I tried to vote last meeting, but we will vote this meeting to keep this least for another year. He really is trying to address anti-Semitism. Sometimes anti-Semitism is not as blatant as we would think, and not as blatant, but really helps. And he's also working on, and he got a grant to work on a manual for other synagogues to how to go around it. Anything else you want to add, Kent?
Just one thing, through the committee, through either, directly or indirectly, but endorsed by the committee, we had 22 letters to editors published, or opinion pieces, larger pieces, since December of 2023, when the board first endorsed having the committee. So in 1 year, we wrote more than that, but we were, on the whole, that's good. 22 in 5 different newspapers, some big, some not as large. And the other thing I'll say about it is our audience, our audience is not Jewish people or Israelis, or it's rather the 80–90% of people in the community, Gentiles who may not know their right hand from their left regarding Israel and its suffering and its wars to stay alive against others. And so that's been our audience, and because somebody has to tell the truth. So we remain apolitical. All of our things that we write are fact checked, so we don't go into any cross any lines, whether subjective or conjecture. And has it been successful? You'd have to tell me, but I can tell you that we were able to make a difference in communications, particularly in Southern Arizona, through Arizona Daily Star was our main outlet.
I can't tell you, people will come up to me, not just Temple members, and to Ed, and comment on the articles, and you've got.
If I can just add,
Sure.
our agreement with the board is that we will share the various opinions and letters to editors with the membership, as it's really an FYI. And I have heard from many of you, and I thank you for that, your response. Our purpose there is to let you know, one, what we're doing, and two, that you're not alone out there, that there's a voice, there are voices, and we're speaking out, and we're not afraid. We refuse to live in fear, and to stand tall with the Jewish communities of Southern Arizona. Thank you.
Thank you, Ken. And Ken, regularly goes up, works with, talks to the people. In Jasper, he's gone to a meeting where he wanted to have a proposal to not sanction Israel, but to
endorse a unilateral ceasefire that would not acknowledge the hostages or the Hamas atrocities. So I went to a few of the city council meetings in Tucson. One of them, President Esther came with, and we were there with other people supporting Israel, including the Jewish Philanthropies of Southern Arizona and other groups, and they didn't do it. They had a chance and they voted it down. And what because of us, I don't know, but I know it meant something that we were in the front row, so we can be seen if not heard.
thank you, Ken. Thank you for all your work. Next. Okay, mission statement, we can do that later. I was trying to explain the mission statement. Next. Okay, next, so we talk about accomplishments. Next. Okay, the sisterhood. A shout out to the sisterhood. They are really such wonderful boosters and supporters of Vegetable Temple Center. We frequently ask them as a whole, can they make a lunch for this? Can they do this? Can they buy this? And the answer is always yes. They have monthly meetings that often involve a trip somewhere, usually in the spring, where they have people come in. They're very mindfulness person at their last meeting. I don't know if they sponsor, I couldn't remember if they sponsor the book club or not. No, okay. I wasn't sure. But they do co-sponsor, the private parties along with the men's club, and their work is wonderful. They do mahjong tournaments where they raise money for daisies and for Angela Friend. Okay.
They're a gala sponsor as well. Sisterhood was a gala sponsor this year.
Oh, Gala, they also Gala sponsor, yes, thank you. And they also make, raise money, for the Sister Hermitage, and there's some, fun pictures from the Hermitage. And they even sang, but we don't have those, you can't see, hear those. Okay, next. Okay, men's club. It says, here comes,
It says, don't look now, but here comes the club board,
okay,
and that's BOAR.
yes, so I couldn't find anything that says men's club. I really, thank our Navy, this club, co-sponsors the Hanukkah party. He has a great spokesperson with Harry, who comes to the meetings and tells us what's happening with the men's club, so we know. And their cardboard collecting. Do you want to add anything else, Harry?
We also, made a donation to the gala,
Oh, and they made donations to that.
and we have a successful cardboard recycling
Yes.
program,
The cardboard, yeah,
and for
every fourth quarter.
and we're gonna be putting up a gold leaf in honor of Merle Sobel.
Oh, wonderful. Nice. Okay, next. And I wasn't mentioning that anybody in the men's club is for, believe me. I just was looking at something humorous. Okay, Torah study. Marty Cohen, who's been doing this for years, and he's so good at it. There are people who are Jews and non-Jews who come along, and sometimes it's on Zoom, sometimes it's here. And I like this cartoon. Adam and Eve, they Cain and Abel. So far, it's like a soap opera. So, but anyway, so thank you to Marty for his, and all his work that he comes. He's usually at a lot of our events and has been a strong, along with Sue, supporter of the SBC. Next. Okay, I want to mention the Jim Click and the 50/50 raffle, of which Steve Abrams and Ed Gold work on. Going down to Steve Click and bringing it and taking it back. And one of these days, somebody, maybe me, will win a Jim Click raffle. I know I won once, for 50/50, but I take it back. So, but I'm really hoping out for the Jim Click. Next. Okay, Jane Gold. Jane Gold has been very helpful with keeping up with Facebook. She puts birthdays, anniversaries, events on it, and keeping up with that. And that's a good job. And she's also recently taken over the library and has been working with the rabbi to help winnow some of the stuff that is old. That doesn't need to be, we don't need to keep, notwithstanding things that are important for something that we should keep. So, thank you to Jane Gold. Next. Okay, Memorial Board and New York sites, Joyce Finkelstein. Joyce is always up there with, talking about, and talking to people if they need help with getting a memorial board for their York site. She's really, any new member, she tries to run after them to get the York sites so she can send out, reminders, and we appreciate it. It's really, a very important function. Next. Sunette Marin, who has done for years also a wonderful job on the Book of Remembrance, and you can get it online or the actual copy. And I thank her. She's always done a great job in that. Very quietly, just goes ahead and does it. Next. Okay, Linda Stein. I had some other pictures, but I couldn't find them. That's what I was doing today, looking for these pictures of lots of people doing therapy dolls. But these dolls go to children in hospitals here and in Israel. And they're very helpful for children who are undergoing surgery or even having some problem and understanding what a stitch will look like or what an IV will look like and where it will go. Thank you, Linda. And you're next. Okay. I couldn't not mention Stacy, Stacy, who really is keeper of you name it. You know, she's got the calendar, she comes up with our schedules, our accounts, the show.
You're talking to the microphone.
Oh, sorry, thank you. Thank you for reminding me. She does it all, right? And she helps me keep on track with things, mostly in a good manner. Private joke. Any which way. But very helpful. And now that she has a new dog, I'm gonna have to bring in new treats. But okay, next. Okay, and there's two other people before I mentioned. There's Dan Lynch and Olga, who are working.
Sorry, I'm still at the meeting. No.
Steve is still at the meeting.
Oh, Steve, so hi, Steve. Did you get your thank you? Okay. But I do have to say thank you to my husband. I don't want to say he doesn't want me doing this job because that sounds like, you know, when I listen to him. I haven't been for 54 years. I don't know if I'd start now, but I've heard a very good joke about that. Usually, you know, I tell people I've been married for 54 years, when I was at 54 years, and it feels like 15 minutes into work. But I heard a very good joke that he told me. He says, oh, I've been happy for 24 years, and then I got married. But that was another one. I like those kind of jokes. But no, I have to really say thank you to my husband because he's really, he cooks, doesn't clean, but he walks the dog, does laundry. Of course, if you would have seen some of the things I made him when I was going with him, you know, understand why he cooks. But I do appreciate him. And next, okay. And these are the lows. I said in the very beginning, they were the highs and the lows. And the lows are some of the members we lost that are part of the history of BSTC. And for some of you who have been members much longer than I am, it must be a greater loss. And two very special ones. And the rabbi just sent me a list of them, and I didn't get that email. I guess I'll have to look and fix the slide of all the people that did. But Merle Sobel, with the membership, one of the new members was Holly Matson, who is Cyril Bagley's daughter, who was president when I first came here and was so welcoming. And it's nice to see another member. But I first started working on the board with Merle Sobel and certainly taught me the ways of how borough boards can be run. Dave Beaufort, Gloria Clancy. Gloria Clancy was a member of past president, a mentor, a friend, and I'm going to miss her very much. And I was wondering if we could have a moment of silence for her and for all our people who have passed through our lives this year in Huntington. Thank you. If I've not mentioned somebody, please let me know. I can always add it if I put this up. Stu Toby, right, yes.
Thank you, the list.
Okay, I'm glad I gave you this yesterday, because I was, I didn't see it. Some of my emails, which drives Stacy crazy, don't come until 2 days later. So now I know to check in when she calls me, or I call her, because, as I say, there's I don't know what goes in my computer. Any which way, but, they really showed us the way, these members. And, it's important for us to keep going, to keep the SBC going, especially today with the anti-Semitism that's around, and the hate, et cetera, et cetera. I don't want to go. So I think that's mine. If I missed anybody, please, I apologize. I thank you truly. I'm sorry.
Let there be light.
Let there be light. I think the next thing on the agenda is
Treasury.
treasurer's report. Do you want, but do we want before we announce?
What?
Do you want before we announce your treasurer's report? Do you want elections?
Oh, yeah, Allure. Find out just whoever you're
Oh,
talking.
yes, we can. Okay, so we were talking up here. Don't worry. Sorry, you won't miss anything. Right, no, I got it right. So before we go on, I forgot to, so I couldn't read it, I should make larger. We have to, put out a motion to, accept the minutes.
Approve the minutes for December 23rd meeting.
Second.
All those in favor?
Second, who's, okay, got it.
All those opposed?
Thank you.
Thank you. And then I wanted to, announce before the financial report,
No, I do that.
the election.
She's gonna do.
No, I'm gonna do the election, and then you can give the financial report. Is that all right? Too bad, I'm doing it. Okay. All right, Amy Starr was elected for a 2-year term. Harry Siegel was elected for a 1-year term. John McDowell, a 2-year term. Ben Blake, a 2-year term. And Gloria Clancy was on the ballot, and she was reelected, and I will be talking to the board and trying to decide who I should ask to step up and be captain. What was part of the financial report, you're gonna, because we have to pass from the board the raises, because that's part of the meeting that we have to do.
How can we do that in a study session?
Is that okay?
Yeah.
Oh, okay, but we have to do.
We just need the board, so we don't
Okay.
need the audience.
Okay.
Am I on?
Always.
You said that. Okay. First of all, I do have to add one thing to your report. Very simple. About committees. A committee is a group of people who as individuals do nothing, but who as a board can decide nothing can be done.
I love that. I'm gonna save that, write that down, because I was going to, a while ago, at another meeting, Ricky put out what a board was and the fiduciary responsibility, et cetera. And I was gonna start with that, but I didn't, but that's something very, very true.
Thank you. All right, now I'm the treasurer. No longer have, I'm treasurer. We are very flush at the moment because we got the cash in for the Brodsky grant. We got the income from the gala and everybody else. That was renewed, and I still, that's all over there. That hasn't hit anything. That's it.
It's some tissues right
That's
there.
it. It's just water. It didn't hit anything. So anyway, I'm just gonna give you round numbers. We really don't, it's water. Nothing got wet. Well, clean it up, okay. Anyway, I'm gonna read you, I'm just gonna round out the numbers. treasurers read you to the penny. If you really want the pennies, come see me after you can copy them. In our checking account, we've got a little over $60,000, savings 30. Our big funds at the brokerage account, the Greater Green Valley Community Foundation, that's our big one, 940,000. We have reserves, so in case the roof falls off or the refrigerator dies, and the two things. We've got 100,000, which we set aside for that, and we have a small, $42,000, fund at the JCM, the JPSA. All right. Real quick, the Torah fund still has a little money in it, but it still has two things to do. It's got, they were gonna build a display case for the retired Torah and a donor book of some sort, which we haven't figured out. The income from the gala, this I'll give you the pennies, $23,360.99. Yay, absolutely. So that was wonderful. What I have done this year, I mean, just briefly, the fact that through a series of unfortunate events, we lost all the computer history of our accountant 3 years ago. Which is why Harry had to go dig through the boxes in the shed to get some key numbers out of that. But since that time, we have no outside CPA guard, watching over anything. Stacy is not even a bookkeeper, that's not her profession. And she did the best she could, but we did not close the year for 3 years. We didn't post depreciation. Anybody who knows all this kind of stuff, we didn't do any of the normal stuff for 3 years. Also, I don't know who designed the chart of accounts in the beginning, but in that 3 years, when somebody asked her a reimbursement for something and Stacy couldn't find an account that looked like it belonged in, she made an account, but I wasn't treasurer then. Anyway, that has stopped. I have redesigned the entire chart of accounts by setting each committee is its own, like a department or a cost center, whatever you want to call it. There will be new procedures. Everybody, I requested their budget for the year of 2025. I only had to modify two. There's two of them, I won't say who needed modifying into a downward position. But we managed to, realistically, I believe, have a budget for next year that I will be constantly reminding the committee chairs that they are to stick to the budget that they requested. Because we had no controls. Anybody used to be able to just put in a chip, a receipt for something and get reimbursed without checking if they still had money in their budget. That will stop. I will be giving the committee chair people quarterly budget versus actual reports. And if they want them more often, on request, whenever they want to know where they stand in their budget, they can. I mean, life happens. So if the budget needs to be changed, it will have to go through the board the way the budget did. So it's not in stone, it's in parchment. We can rub it out and, fix it a little bit. So, what I want to do mostly, that I focused on this first year was, let's stick within our budget. Because we've never done that. Whatever the budgets were before, and I'll give you some round numbers, they were in the neighborhood of like $65,000 deficit, $70,000 deficit each year that we were running. We got that to around 55,000. And if you're going to really work hard to keep it there and keep working on reducing. Now, I've written a letter to the congregation that nobody will have an excuse to not get it. I'm sending it out snail mail, email blast, and in the shofar. So if anybody said that they did not see my letter, because we really cannot cut our expenses down. we've got to find other ways to get income up. And it's a heart-to-heart, honest, I think everybody on the board and anybody that knows me has read this before it went out. Some of it were passed out. I have a few more copies here. So that would be a fourth way you would get it, not say that you didn't see it. Because that is, I'm first focusing on income expenses. We have other things to focus on because we have restricted accounts that have been on the books for years that we don't know what they're for, so maybe we can use that money because that, whatever that project was is finished. You know, so there's an awful lot to do. Harry went through the boxes, he's figured out the depreciation for the last 3 years. He's gonna help me with the restricted accounts. So there's an awful lot of work. A couple of months ago, I said that I'll stay in this position for 2 more years. They said, oh, you can't do that because you gotta, you know, each board has to vote. I said, okay, I will stand for the position for 2 more years. I make that commitment to the FTC because I truly believe that's how long it's gonna take, in addition to the year I've already served, to get this place fiscally responsible, that it will stay in business, because otherwise, if we were going the way we were going, about a year ago, I said that I felt that the FTC would be bankrupt within 7 to 10 years. Then I got the budget request and I said, no, it would be 5 to 7 years. So we've got to pay attention to our fiscal, the fiduciary responsibility to keep this place going. That's my resolve. And if it takes more than 2 years, if I'm still here, if you're not, even if I'm in a wheelchair, if you can get, lately people say, how are you? And I'm always, there's always something. I say, great, from the neck up. As long as from the neck up, and then I said, but also I need my fingers to type, to get onto the computer. And then somebody who I know is very techy, and it's not lesson, I know other techies, and very AI said, you won't even need your fingers, because now with AI, you just talk to your computer and it'll do whatever. So I started with computers in 1963. I was a programmer. So I guess I'm going to be at the other end of it too. But there's just, I just feel so, I don't know what word, I wouldn't even put a word.
Committed.
Committed? Well, no, I've been committed. I've been committed.
But I think, you know, again, that's what the STC engenders, that
Right.
you feel this.
Yeah, this is all of our homes now. I mean, most of our families are back somewhere else. And, you know, you are my people. And so I want to make sure that it's done. And that's why I found what is the responsibilities of our board. We are a board of trustees. You know, we're not just a board of directors. We are the ones that are holding this place together. And with your help, absolutely be able to. But read the letter, take it to heart, and hope to
think
see
about
you
it.
next year.
I do want to, excuse me, I'll put this on. I want to, can you hear me or I have to put this on?
Put it on.
Hold it.
One of the lows for me and for all of us was that we had to raise the budget. It was something that we really didn't want to do, but we felt.
Raise the dues. Raise the dues. She said raise the budget.
Did I say that? I meant raise the budget, raise the dues.
Raise the dues.
Sorry. Been a long day. Okay. For all of us, I'm sure. Raise the dues. I know, I'm looking at the time too. I'm almost finished that. I sent down a letter saying when we raised the dues that we could have raised it more. And somebody took exception to that I was implying, well, weren't we right or what? But that I called that person and told them that that's not what we meant and explained. So I wonder if any of you felt that way. It was just our way of saying, we're really trying, and we didn't want to go to.
Let me talk to that. The bylaws here say that we raise the dues 20% in any given year without the approval of the entire congregation, with just the approval of the board. when I came here, the dues were $300 6 years ago. It was raised, it wasn't raised during COVID, it was 20%, made it $360. That was a nice number. Okay. Decided, I put my 3 cents worth in inflation. So, my 3 cents said, okay, it's time, we're gonna have to raise the dues again. I don't care, any little bit of extra income. Well, 360 times 20, with a 20% increase came to $432. And nobody on the board liked that. So they rounded it down to 400. And somehow the communication of it, so it was only raised like 11.5%, not 20%. And the message of that getting across. Now, it mentions, somewhere, I'm talking about this so much, that it would be, do we want to have a whole congregation raise the dues significantly at one time? Or do we want to do 20% a year, so that you'll know? That has not been decided. But that is one of the only, dues, grants, fundraisers. We've got to increase the income, or this place will have to start selling off lots or something to stay in business. That's my report.
Is there anything else on the agenda?
Perhaps Olson.
No, not like, we did have to take a report, but you did the, new business, is there any new business? New business with the election, member comments?
Oh, I turned it off. One more thing that Barry reminded me that we did, that was so long ago. Whenever somebody died and left us a bequest, what happened to that was never really stated. We now have what we call a windfall policy.
I had that in my notes.
Well, we got Harry back on with us, so that, and, legacies and that, that type of thing. This BSTC doesn't have any of that kind of thing that are larger synagogues that we may have come from. We have no endowment per se, etc. So, that was just one last little thing.
Thank you. Thank you.
Do you want to do any committee reports?
Well, I think with the committee reports, I really went through.
Microphone, please.
Microphone.
Microphone, please.
I felt I went through the committee reports by going through the summaries from each committee, because I went back through all the chauffeurs and the committee reports and this month's committee report. Some of them, I have in my remarks, but I didn't put on the slide. I thought it was better to just go by the slide. It's long enough,
Good enough. Thank you to everybody that did submit committee
Yes.
reports, and they're attached to this.
So they will be out to the congregation. Any new business? I think new business.
We have
The first one is.
on the new business.
Huh?
New business you have.
Right, that was scratched then. Okay,
And you've done the announcements.
right, is there any member comments? I'll bring it around even.
Not ill business. Yeah, whatever.
It wasn't on there.
You got a whole.
No, oh.
Give me.
I don't think that is the same
Yeah.
one.
Comment from the member.
I just want clarification. Did I understand you to say we cannot raise the dues unless the entire, of 12-20%, unless the entire congregation votes?
Yes.
Well, a certain percentage, I don't know what percent, is it 80% or 70%? 20% of the congregation votes.
Oh, you mean what is quorum for them? Oh.
No, I forgot what it says in our procedure manuals, how many people need to be at a meeting.
In order to raise the dues more than 20%, what is the procedure?
There's statutes. I have to go back to the statutes.
Who has the
Yes.
bylaws with them?
No, it's also in the Arizona revised statutes.
Where are yours? I got one.
We can add that into,
I didn't bring all that stuff today, I'm sorry.
Oh, I'll have that answer for you, because it's in the bylaws.
Nonprofit Corporation Act. It's in statute.
I can't hear you.
It's in the Nonprofit Corporation Act. It's in the Arizona revised statute. I'll look it up for you.
So we have-
Okay.
Okay, Mike was saying that mostly what, he's recalling from reading statutes and the, bylaws is that you have to have a quorum.
Okay, I have it. A 2/3 vote of a quorum of the membership at the meeting called for the purposes stated below is required to do. So,
The first you have to get is quorum, and then you have to get 2/3 vote.
right. Of the members present.
From members present, right? Right, of that quorum,
Question.
that quorum.
That's what I. Oh, whoops.
I don't need the mic, you don't need the mic for me. Is it a special meeting that we have? Does the special meeting have to be called?
Yes. And it's a 30-day notice for any special meeting for that.
Three notifications.
Well, or it could be held at the annual meeting where by definition you have a quorum.
We could have done it today.
Right.
You can only do it at the annual meeting if it's published that it's going to be done. at-
Right.
It's on the agenda.
Okay, so it has to be published 30 days ahead for a special meeting or annual meeting for a quorum, 2/3 of it, to purchase and sell property, mortgage, or otherwise encumber assets, expend funds of an individual unbudgeted item over $10,000, increase dues of more than 20% over the previous year's dues, and impose any special assessment on the matter.
Thank you very much.
That's everything.
So this is doable, it's not that
Yeah.
difficult. And
Right,
if
yes.
the board feels we need to do it, hopefully you will say, we really need to raise.
Well, that's what we did in that letter, what?
Yeah, maybe I.
Okay, that's what we did in that letter, saying that we try to keep it as low as possible.
Take off what Ricky has put in that letter. You should take that to heart. We have a variety of ways we could raise the top line. We've already said we've cut expenses we feel about as comfortably as we want to do without really impacting the quality of our life at the temple. But on the top line, you have not only dues, which traditionally only account for 1/3 of the cost. You have grants. We do go after grants, for instance, to finance the high holidays. We have fundraisers, we have donations. Last year, a lot of work by a lot of people went in to get that $22,000 of net profit. We don't want to go to that length, but we can do a variety. We want to do a variety of different smaller fundraisers. And, we'll belabor that point, but we're planning to have a number of different programs this year with the help of everybody here. So we can continue to have that inflow of money. So it's not just dues. If you run the numbers, even if you went up 20% for everybody's dues, it's really not going to have, it's 20% of 1/3 of the cost of running the temple. That's not significant enough. We need more of the fundraisers and donations and grants. And we are also still looking for grants.
Well, I was gonna go to that, yeah, if anybody wants to join our grant committee, we need to start writing grants. We have a thing, we look up grants and stuff. I had sent the grant in, to be looked at, but, it's not gonna fly because they want it for individuals. So within the next 2 days, rather than with a group thing, is, support groups, the reading groups, but within the next 2 days, so we do 29, I'm going to try to come up with a grant, to be able to provide, I know there's a Jewish word for it, so I gotta find out the word, for food for people who are in mourning that we can send, people who come home from the hospital, something like that. And that's all the things I can think of for individuals, you know. I mean, there's transportation, but I don't know if I have time between now and 2 days to figure out transportation costs. Yeah, yeah.
And I don't want to belabor this, I'm just
No.
curious though. What is the average age? I'm just curious. On average, what do other temples, how much of their budget is, what percentage of the budget is done to dues? In other words, 50%? It comes from dues? One third.
About 1/3.
One third, that's the average.
Yeah, 30 to 40.
30 to 40%.
Oh, okay.
Okay, 30 to 40%, but then there's also all the little tributes that you give. You know, the book of remembrance, giving for a grandchild born.
So if we decided on 40% rather than 30%, that would be untoward.
So,
Different people react different ways.
And just when you're measuring apples and apples, many congregations also have a separate building fund.
Right.
Whereas we pay our building expenses out of the general.
well, I thought the building funds were usually for, more like what I think of as the reserves of capital.
Depends on,
And the,
depends on the institution.
However it's written. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
and a special assessment on the membership is one of the choices here.
And we have to recognize that we are an ancient building and, you know, but well, hopefully we'll get through.
Oh, aging. Aging, I thought you said ancient, and I'm going.
It's not ancient, it's ancient.
AK.
How's it happen?
No.
Okay, so can I have a motion? If nobody has anything else?
I hope that we adjourn.
Thank you, everybody, for coming, and I look forward to seeing you at future events.